music. This is Phase Ed Music. This is Phase Ed Music. This is Phase Ed Music.
Everybody, welcome into another week of That Fantasy Show. I am your host, your friendly local neighborhood YouTuber, Michael Amand, joined by...
Ryan Wilczek.
Who else we got?
We have Miss Ella.
And we are a little behind this morning. We're trying to get everything together because we have something special planned up for this week. Brian, tell the people what's going on.
We have some live guests for the first time on the show, connecting via Skype. So we'll have that later on the slate.
Live guests, that sounds amazing.
Man, we're going places.
I'm kind of pumped. So tune in, stay tuned, all of that, see who we got. Hopefully everybody likes what we got going on. But first, as we always like to do while we get our stuff ready for Ella's Pick 6 will be at the beginning of the show this week. But let's kick off week 13 of the NFL season, how we always do, with America's Pledge of Allegiance. Ella, take us away.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. America.
Play ball. So, week 13 in the NFL season is about to kick off. We've had 4 games happen already.
Yeah, a bit of a head start this week, huh? Typical
Little.
Thanksgiving slate with 3 games, plus a bonus Black Friday. Those darn Chiefs keep squeaking out victories.
You know, the Chiefs are chiefing, man, and that's not getting fun, man. It's like, there's always some controversy at the end of every game. What's going on?
Yeah, that one, the whole ref little huddle there, it was questionable. A little
That, like I
fishy.
said, if you caught our show last week, we talk about it. If you're going to fix something, just like in wrestling, how do they do it? It's the referee. His back was turned and the guy got hit with a steel chair. That's exactly what the end of that
They got
game felt
codes
like.
in the way they talk on WWE
Yeah.
too. They're out here. They got like hand signals, letting them know what to do. I don't know.
So, they very
Entertainment, right?
well may be good, but yeah, I don't like how that ended, even if that was the right call or the wrong call. But anyway, what do you say? We have to get to Ella's Pick 6 early in the show this week because Ella's got some stuff going on today.
Yeah, we're just getting the slides here and ready.
So besides that, Ella, what's going on?
We're going to go to Frankenmuth.
What's Frankenmuth?
It's like a Christmas store. It's right next to this hotel, and it's like a Christmas store, and it like sells ornaments and all different kinds of Christmas stuff. I can't wait to go.
not just a Christmas store, the largest Christmas store I think in the world.
In the world?
Yes, in the world.
The world's pretty big.
Yeah.
Frankenmuth. It's a beautiful place. If you've never been there, check it out. If you don't know anything about it, Google it. It's on Google. There's some good eating up that way, too. There's a Nike store up there that I love. What do you say, Brian? How we looking?
Oh, we're pulling her up right now.
Hey, good to go. There is Ella's record on the season. This is a 6-year-old girl pushing her way to 7, but that is 37 wins, 33 losses. That's pretty dang good. What do you think, Ella?
I think it's pretty good too.
Yeah, I'd say so. Over 500. She's learning as she goes. She's getting to know these teams. She knows the logos.
So this is another thing too, speaking of that, Brian. So as we flash up her graphic and she gets ready to make her selections, we're going to see if she can call out who the matchup is. And then if she can't, we'll say who it is and set it up. And we'll see who Ella wants. And even though she picked in the 4 games that we've already had, the Thanksgiving and the Black Friday special, she's going to rattle off 6 more right here. She's good to go. She's ready. Kids cut from good stock. She said, Dad, I'll do 6 again. I said, you only got to do 2 if you want. She said, no, run the 6.
It's a 10 pick week for Ella.
Ella's pick 10. Ella, who are these teams?
The Steelers and the Bengals.
When you see that, who you going to pick?
Bengals. Who they?
Who they? Who they think gonna beat them Bengals? Who they? Who they? Who they think gonna beat them Bengals? Nobody!
I like it.
Rounding out Ella's first pick, Cincinnati Bengals. Ella, who are these teams?
The Falcons and
Lightning bolt. What could that mean?
I don't know. The Chargers?
Yeah, just like Nathan's schools. Nathan is a Churchill Charger, Ella's brother. Ella, when you see this, that's the Los Angeles Chargers at the Atlanta Falcons. We joke and say it's Divine Child, but that's the Atlanta Falcons. What do you think?
Well, I like the Falcons because Bree, and I also like the Chargers because Nathan, but I'm gonna have to go with the Falcons.
Falcons, one of Ella's horses this year. So far, Ella has the Bengals, the Falcons. Ella, this one's a little more tougher to call out, but who are these teams?
The Jaguars and
That one's tougher, huh?
I know.
So that is the Houston Texans, and they are playing in Jacksonville against the Jaguars.
I knew it started with a T. I knew it.
You was close. You were right there, and you knew the Jaguars. You know your stuff. Kid's good. Well, what did you think? Who were you picking?
Wait.
It was Houston Texans.
Get a little hot on the mouse here.
No, we was ready to go. Woody's fired up now. He's ready to go.
Ready.
No, the Jaguars?
Oh, the Jaguars.
Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars. That would be an upset, Ella, and that is going to be insane if you call that. I'm going to love that. I'll give you a round of applause right now.
I don't know, with the way the Texans have been playing, anything's possible, so don't count out the Jags.
It is. Ella, who are these teams?
They both look the same, but one of them is blue.
Hey, they're birds.
Yeah, they're
Aviators,
birds.
right?
I have no clue what both of those are.
So this is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens. What do you think?
The Baltimore.
Baltimore Ravens, lock it up. The
Ooh, that's gonna be a
Bengals,
tough matchup.
the Falcons, the Jaguars, the Ravens. This is the see if you know.
49ers and the Buffaloes.
What gave away the 49ers?
So, well, the Buffaloes, and I love when people call them that. That is wonderful. But when you see this, who are you going to pick? This game, weather report from Woody's What's the Weather Doing?
What's the weather doing? I think they're digging themselves out of a blizzard out that
It's
way.
about to be 2 to 3 feet of snow. I seen this should be a fun game. Tune into this, everybody. If you're a football fan, this is a snow game.
Snow games are always fun. I think I heard one of the freeways was shut down for multiple hours. out
I-90.
there, so I hope everybody's okay. Got to shovel your way to the game out there.
Well, what does
Ella?
Ella think?
Yeah.
I've always liked both, and I feel like I've did this one before against the 49ers and the Buffaloes, and I don't remember which one I picked, but I'm gonna go with the 49ers. I just feel like it.
49ers over the Buffaloes.
49ers, lock it in. Ella, there is only one more pick left before you bark, because these are two of your favorite teams to pick. What are their names?
No pressure.
The Broncos and I don't know what the helmet one is, but I feel that just gave me a.
So this is the Cleveland Browns on the road in Denver on Monday Night Football against the Denver Broncos. When you see this, Ella, what do you think?
The
Bruh.
bruh.
The Bruz.
Um,
What you think? What you think?
I like
What you
both.
think?
I can't pick of this. I can't.
Well, you can't pick a tie, so you have to pick one.
The Browns, whatever.
Browns.
Locked her in.
Nailed it. So, if we do a quick recap, Ella's pick 6, she is the Bengals, the Falcons, the Jaguars, the Ravens, the 49ers, and who'd you pick? The Browns? Let's roll. Ella's pick 6, 37-33 on the season. Tune in next week to see how she goes. I feel like that was a good section right there. I feel like she's going to nail that right there.
Yeah.
Miss Ella, you are done with your segment.
Bye, people.
Thank you. Go ahead and have a wonderful afternoon at Frankenmuth. Tell Mommy I love her.
Thank you, Miss Ellen.
Okay, that went well. We rounded out Ella's pick 6. Got that out of the way pretty early.
Yeah, if you notice, we're a little late today. Had some internet connectivity issues. Changed some hardware. Holy mother.
Sorry, I don't know what that was. That was insane.
It sounds way different now. Got a little bit of a cave voice, but
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. I'm just trying to check this out. Something was wrong with that. All the connections are good here. There's still echo.
holy moly.
I don't know what happened there, but one of those was turned down.
I don't
But
know. That's kind of in line with the way the morning's been going. It's been a 45 minutes troubleshooting the internet. I'm no networking expert. We got it going just in time, but we're a little late on getting set up here. But that's all right. We got a big slate today. We're doing some Skype calls. We're gonna have some guests for the first time on the show, other than the kids. So very exciting. What do you say we get one of these lined up here?
well, so we are ready to try our first attempt at having guests via Skype. So we do have 2 people lined up, ready to go. I'm ready if you are, man. We can just go ahead and let our first guest know to be ready and start connecting to him, and we can just check this out. We wanted to chat with a couple people, try to grow our brand a little bit.
All right. So Ben, I know you're out there. You're in the chat. I'm gonna give you a call here. I'm
Ben
gonna get you connected.
Phillips
for the
is
show.
our first guest. First guest, Ben Phillips. Ben is the owner of the Santa Cruz Banana Slugs, and that is in the Closing with Steve Dynasty League. And again, this is our first attempt
Yeah.
at an online Skype thing. So obviously we're a live show, so this may come across a little different. And the background's a little different today. I just noticed that, Brian. That looks really good right now.
Hey, yeah. Switching the jerseys up.
Yeah, and then over my shoulder there, that's not the best sight for me, as if you caught our show last week, I'm obviously a Buckeye, and yesterday did not go my way, but
We got
At
Ben
least-
on standby. I'm getting the scene set up here, so give me a second.
okay,
Get him configured.
Ben's locked and loaded. We wanted to check in with Ben. We're going to hopefully visit with a couple of the owners of the Closing with Steve Dynasty League and see how a couple of experts run a team, see what we got going on. Mostly playoff push coming up as it's week 13 in the NFL season. For fantasy purposes, some leagues, this is the last week. I'm glad ours isn't like that. Usually the last week is week 14. It's a good playoff positioning week. If you're close, you need a win this week. And, oh, I know why it sounds different. Because I needed to switch it to that. When you turn it off and you turn it on, you have to switch between this and that. Now we sound great. I'll just take a little more bass out of the voice. Hey, there we go. How do we look with Ben Phillips? Can't wait to hear from Ben as we start.
Almost there. A little technical difficulty.
No, that's okay. You do your thing.
Getting
We're
the scene set up.
we're getting
Things
everything
are
together.
disappearing.
Oh, we'll talk with Ben, see how long he's been playing fantasy football, if he's ever won any championships. Ben's been playing fantasy football with us, I know, for a few years. And we're on year 2 of our Closing with Steve Dynasty Fantasy Football League. I'm sitting next to the championship of the champion of the first year. Hopefully he's sitting next to the champion of the second year.
We'll see. Diving.
At least I look better than last year. Last year, injuries killed my team, and in a dynasty league, once you're without one of your top performers, you're pretty much screwed. So,
All right, just getting the sources lined up. Something
Nope.
happened on it. These
Nope.
things are going.
you're good to go. As long as he's on standby, we're ready to go. Those Thanksgiving games, though, that was crazy. The Lions, they looked like in the first half this was going to be easy victory. They were finally going to get a Thanksgiving Day win, and then it got pretty sticky there towards the end. I ain't going to lie. We was all sitting around the TV kind of nervous there. Not that the Bears are anything special, but they made it a game there at the end. Obviously, their coach made a huge clock management error that if you ever played Madden football, which I can tell 100% for a fact that coach never has, he's terrible at Madden because that clock management was just absolutely ridiculous. The whole internet knew he was getting fired the next day, and then he got fired the next day. Maybe it was the day after, I don't know, but as he should have. You can't run 20 seconds like that. My God, that's a rookie mistake. I've been playing Madden since it came out, and 20 seconds left on the clock and one timeout, I'm getting 2 to 3 plays off. They got one terrible play off. And then in the second game, New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys, That's kind of a dud. It did have some points. Remember, we took the over on that game. We were ready to go, locked and loaded, 37 points. It definitely went over. Obviously, the Cowboys took care of that one. The night game, if you caught our gambling purposes, I went out on a limb, man. I thought the Dolphins were going to win. I thought they were going to break their cold weather curse. Not going to happen. They looked like they always look in cold weather games, and Green Bay Packers took care of business in that one. Then the Black Friday game, which, I can watch whatever games I want while I'm at work, and I'm not going to lie, I forgot about that game. I didn't realize that game was going on until the second quarter, and I'm like, oh, crap. Better tune into this game. Again, you caught the ending. It's kind of suspect. Like I said, I'm not one to say whether everything was right or wrong. It was just controversy, man. There's always some kind of controversy right at the end of their games. It just goes in their favor. It is what it is, man. People are getting sick of it, but it is what it is. And then there's a full slate of games today.
All right. We're ready for Ben. Let's switch it over.
If we are ready, as we are joined live by Ben Phillips. Let me give him a round of applause.
Hello, Ben. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for bearing with me on setting everything up. We're still learning. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well, gentlemen. Doing well. Excited for this Sunday. Looking a little bleak here. The Sentinels seem to have my number. We'll see, though.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show. We're trying to add a different element to the show, and thank you, at least, number one, for taking us serious. We're just getting off the ground. We know what we know, and we know some stuff, but there's a lot we don't know. We're trying to figure it out, and you're the first guest on our show, so that might be a fun trivia answer here sometime in the future.
Yeah.
But
Hey, you
again,
sound great now, by the way. So
thank you. Well, we appreciate you, brother. Thank
Thanks for
you.
joining us, Ben.
It's not as easy as it may look on TV. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes here, and it's ridiculous. But
The whole window is disappearing on me. I'm like, where'd it go?
but we're
getting it
kind of
set up.
within our time frame that we told you. So, Ben, we were gonna kick this off. I was gonna ask you to tell the people how long have you been playing fantasy football, and have you ever won a championship? That would be a league where there was money involved, or if you got multiple ones, or tell us a little more about your fantasy football ventures.
a couple here and there, but I think about 5 years now, Mike. I think we've been playing together for about 5 years, right?
We've been in and out of a few leagues. I wasn't sure if you were with anything else before us.
I got a couple of buddies that play it, but nothing too much. This is probably my main one, is the one where I'm in with you. So, but didn't I not win a championship with you?
I think
Like
in
3
our
years?
last league, you may have won. I do believe you may have won. So that would at least be one. And then just if you're just going off our leagues, I think in that last league, I'd give yourself a little more credit. That's probably about 7 years. That may have started about 6-7 years ago. So I don't know. Time
Yeah, I
flies.
know.
You know how that goes.
Before fantasy football, never got into it, and then just watching your player get a touchdown or make a big play really makes a big difference. It's so much fun.
It does. It adds more interest to the game.
Oh,
Yeah. So, what is your strategy? So, we did this Dynasty League, and obviously it was an auction draft, and that may be a little more advanced for some of our viewers. But as far as besides the dollar amounts on who you were trying to bid, what was your strategy when you were looking to build your team? What were you trying to areas be strong at, or just something about your strategy? What do you look to do, especially in a Dynasty style league?
Well, it's tough at all. It's really draft dependent on where you fall, and if everyone's taking wide receivers, the number one running back's going to be up there. Take them, and it's all draft dependent on how the flow's going. And if I remember, I actually drafted Kelsey pretty high. I think he was actually my number one pick.
Yeah, I think auction draft, a little different format for those of you out there unaware. Auction draft, you can nominate any player you want, so order isn't really too dependent on how good your team is. So you could draft a kicker one if you want, just to get people throwing some money out there.
Yeah, but
But,
you want a guy, you got to spend for
But
him.
we know you're a few beers deep. The Miller Lite case might have been going strong.
Yeah, so also we wanted to ask you about that because the draft was fun, and it may have been a little extra fun for you as you were hot in the chat group talking about your beers and stuff, and you were having a good time. Tell us about the draft night, man. That was fun.
I honestly don't remember.
All right, that goes to show you. I don't know, a little backstory on Ben, closing with Steve. We went into it a little bit. Most of us has worked at Red Robin. We've actually closed with Steve. Do you have any experience closing with Steve, Ben, over your Red Robin days?
Oh, Steve, man. I just think it's so funny that it's named after him. You know?
We think it's funny too.
He's a hothead. He's a hothead, that's for sure. And, nothing but love for Steve, even
I may or
even
may
now.
not disagree there, but but the main purpose of the Closing with Steve title is if you close with Steve, you'll be there forever. And this is a dynasty league. I didn't want people to leave the league, so it's kind of like a double meaning. If you join this league, you close with Steve, you'll be there forever. Don't leave this league. We already had one owner leave out of the first year. I don't think Ben will ever leave. You've been playing with us for a little while there, sir. So that's good. And as we were talking just before we got on the air, me and you were towards the bottom of the league in that league last year, and we've rebounded, we've rebuilt enough, or we were building. In last year, for me, in my case, I wasn't built more so for last year as I was for this year and next year. And now we are sitting towards the top of the playoff push. We still got 2 weeks here, but how do you feel about from where your team was last year to where your team is this year?
All I gotta say is thank the Giants. If it wasn't for Saquon Barkley, I don't think I'd be where I am. That man is a beast.
That's a good
That
point.
man is a beast. But no, last year I feel like I did pretty well. I almost have the same exact team. I pick up random scraps here and there. I have Josh Downs and Trey Tucker and Khalil Shakur. All just real low-key wide receivers that just were laying there and picked them up, and they've been doing enough to get me to where I'm at. And all I can hope is that I can beat Brian, and because I guarantee Brian's going to be the number one. So tough. The slashers are getting me.
Hey, with that, what do you say we jump into the league? We'll look at some of the matchups, get Ben's comments.
Yeah, let's take a look. As we always visit with the Closing with Steve League, and when we're done with you, Ben, we're going to visit another owner in the league if you wanted to stay around and check out how he's doing. I don't believe you've met him yet. But in this league, it's getting kind of sticky here. Obviously, Brian to my right he's the number one seed. And Ben, he was good last year, obviously, right? There got to be a point where he was consistent, and
Last year was rough. I mean, I had a lot of injuries. I barely squeaked into the playoffs. Like, I came down to that last regular season game, and then my team just got hot through the playoffs. I think I put up, second highest point total in the league in the championship game, so that's pretty good. Decisive victory. Proud of that. But yeah, look, total
Brock Bowers
points.
is the one tight end in the league.
I know. That I traded up for that too. That was worked out pretty good for me.
Yeah.
Some might have been questioning me. Gave away Addison and to trade up for that pick, but I think that's a good trade.
So as we talk about your specific team, Mr. Ben Phillips, you've been on fire. If you look at the total points race, which there's prize for total points race, Ben has caught me for second place. So there is a cash prize for that total points race, whether you win a division or not, Ben, if you weren't following along. As this league does have higher cash prizes than most, and than we had in our previous year. And, there you are right there at the top, 8-4. There's, 4 teams that are 8-4 or better, Brian. And it looks like those teams are primed to make the playoffs. And then there's a battle for the last 2 seeds. And your team's been on fire. Your running backs, as you alluded to, just been on fire. Saquon Barkley, what can you say? I mean, I could talk nice about him, but it's not going to be enough.
Sticking to Ben's team here.
Yeah, so your running backs, congratulations. I'm a huge Joe Mixon fan. I've sent you a couple trade offers. We've never been able to get nothing together. And then now, he's definitely a little older, but the guy's a stud. I do have his jersey on the wall behind Brian there. One of my favorite players. Congratulations on him. I think the change of scenery for him really just added a new dynamic to your team. It was kind of stale with him in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And then
two running backs have highly benefited from trades on your team.
Absolutely.
Got lucky, and the only problem is that I'm struggling in wide receiver. That's the only thing. Like, I played Wandell Robinson. The Giants are just complete trash.
Well, and that one is a little questionable, so I didn't want to say that. But when you look at that, usually though, when teams are strong in one area, as you're strong in running back, you're a little weaker somewhere else. So that's usually when I look at teams or for trade stuff. I've tried to get there. And my offer for Joe Mixon was definitely going to be fair. I was going to get you a receiver, but you're a little thin there. So it's fair to say your style is more having the best running backs, which that's a prime position. It's pretty thin. There's not a lot of deep guys there.
Hey, when it's 10 yards to the goal line, who's going to be getting the score?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Who is the running back?
And they touch the ball a lot, for sure. I also wanted to ask you about your selection. If you caught our shorts, we did our dynasty draft for the rookies over just some quick minute shorts or whatever. Your selection of Caleb Williams at number 2 when there were still guys on the board like Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze who were more of a consensus higher pick. What was your thought process behind that? More of a team need or just like a longevity?
Longevity, man. Like you said, closing with Steve, gonna take forever.
Okay.
And I feel like Caleb Williams, the Bears, I like the way the Bears looked. I did. Against the Lions, they came back and they scored a bunch of I love how he passes the ball. He just needs to not hold it on. He's holding the ball too much.
That's a good point.
So
that's a good point. Well, either way, your selection was a little surprising. However, he's performing, and then especially with the Tua scenario, you definitely didn't forecast him with a concussion when you were drafting him, but that definitely added a little strength and depth to your team there. So as far as for your playoff run that you are likely on, what's your strategy there? Keep it a little close to the nest because you're going against us, or? I mean, are there certain things you look for or certain things that you stay away from?
Well, the main thing, how I try to pick my players is I look at the over-under, if the over-under is 47.5, that seems like a good player to pick, But then you also got to look at the defense, like you're saying, the Bills game, full of snow, probably not going to be a lot of scoring involved. Their over-under is 44.5. I don't know if I'd play any 49ers. I really don't.
That one's tough for me too.
Yeah,
it's tough on redraft leagues. If you took like Ayuk or somebody, he's on the waivers now.
Yeah, the passing game, it gets a little, tough in that. However, it does work. You still saw Jameis Winston still sling a couple passes around in the last snow game we got. It should be a little more
there
snow
were some
in
fantasy
Buffalo.
winners there. The running backs got heavy usage.
I like running backs in snow games. So if you own any running backs in those games, which, oh my God, I own both running backs in that game, McCaffrey and Cook. Oh my God. So I'm excited for that Sunday night game, especially for my own positioning in that Closing with Steve league. But Ben, again, what do you say here? Are we rounding close on Ben's time? Do we got a little more time with Ben? Do we want to revisit his matchup here?
We can check his matchup.
What do we do?
Close it up. So let's jump back over.
Let's look at your matchup for this week, Ben, as it's a huge positioning week.
Going against
how do you
Nick
feel
Podolsky's
about
Washington
your current lead, your projected likely victory against a likely rebuilding team, and what you have remaining on your roster? How do you feel?
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I really feel like he's going to beat me by at least 15 points.
Oh, you're scared. You think you're going to lose the 15-point lead you're projected.
His team is sneaky good, too. That is a sneaky good team right there.
I don't know, Josh Allen's snow
players
game.
I already played. I only got 80 points.
Yeah, well, Josh Allen could get those goal line rushing touchdowns, too. That kicker that he has right there, that kicker could easily go for 20 points, too. That's insane.
I'm looking at this, and I'm almost thinking I shouldn't even play Shakir. But I mean, they would offset the Allen.
Who's your other options if you didn't play him?
Oh, I'll just play the guy I picked up on waivers last week, Noah.
Okay, I do expect that game to have some points. Washington, Tennessee. Washington's trying to get their lick back. Maybe look like the early Washington offense than the last couple games Washington offense.
Yeah, Washington. I love Washington. I mean, what are they? They're pretty high up in the in the power rankings, they're actually negative 6.5. The over under of 44.5. So, I mean, we'll see.
A lot
I
of the
always like
money's
to
on
play with
Washington in that game too.
Yeah.
I always like to play with these parlays. You know, you can always look at what Vegas thinks is going to happen. You know,
That's a good point. My betting strategy, if you ever follow along on the show, I look to see where the public money is, and you know the old saying, "The house always wins." I look for where does Vegas have the opportunity to win, as in the house always wins win. Yeah, I like to look at that, and you gotta look at all the stats and stuff too. But you know, where's all the money at? I want to see what the public's betting. You know.
Hey, hopefully in my pocket at the end of the season, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. Well, Ben, we appreciate you joining in. We'll
The
see how
inaugural
this.
guest of the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll give you another round of applause here. Ben, hope to see you here in the finals. In our championship edition, we do look to visit in with the two competitors in the final. If it's not me and Brian, that means we'd have to have the guests on. Hopefully, we get to have you back on the show
Yeah, we'll get some playoff matchups in here.
for sure.
Yep.
I'll be there, gentlemen. So I really appreciate you having me on, and good luck with everything.
Thank you
I'll
for
talk
that,
to you
Ben.
at the playoffs, huh?
Thanks for Ben. We'll
Thanks
chat.
again, Ben.
We'll
Go
chat after
Red
this too
Wings.
again. And yeah, I appreciate your attire too.
Yeah.
Sporting attire, looked good for the camera. It goes well with our little background there too.
Yeah, it
So
looks good. Looks good.
Hey, go Wings! They play at 12:30, and I'm trying to convince my wife to go to the game. She
Al
wants to go to
Octopus here.
an
He's ready.
artesian market instead, but
it's fun going to those games. Obviously, I'm an out of towner. I'm not a fan of that team. However, I am a fan of going to those games. Little Caesars Arena is wonderful, and the Red Wings, they put on a good show. I've been there
yeah, don't,
one time for a hockey game.
The only problem is that they're not 500, and the lower bowls are $100 a ticket. So
Yeah.
that's the only issue I have with
Yeah,
it.
it's
you know?
expensive to
it's
sit
tough-
on the lower
tough-
bowl
tough to
there, but
justify.
some of those higher
Yeah, but-
seats, it's not that bad there. You know, you're more like down on the ice, so it's not like you're up and far away. You know.
I got a toddler though, you know, and
Oh
I
yeah.
just love looking
Yeah.
the kid in the eye, and her eyes are as big as could be. We went to a Tigers game. We're right up there, and she loved it. you
Ben,
know, so-
that is wonderful. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're a family show. Obviously, you've seen my daughter on the show, and if you catch this, you see Archer from time to time. Woody's a dad. We're just dads, and we have daughters and sons, and just taking them to sporting events. For me, that's what sparked my love, and that's really cool that you just shared that with us. You know, as a dad,
Yeah.
taking your child to a game. You know, there's nothing better. And then, you know, the snacks too. I
Yeah.
was like getting them the snacks. It's a whole world.
Yeah, fatherhood brings a whole new meaning to sports. We appreciate the sentiment, Ben.
Ben Phillips,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
All right, thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben. We'll catch up again soon.
All right, bye.
Should I fix that? I'm going to fix that as we get ready for our next caller.
Okay, yeah, we got some strings falling from the ceiling. You know, typical circumstance here in the basement. It's not a studio. Yeah, I'm just in the corner of my basement here. If you haven't noticed,
No, it's a
we got a
studio.
sewer pipe behind the bat here. You know,
I'm
we
calling
hide it
it
best
a
we can.
studio. I'll do my thing here.
The
I'm
jersey
calling it a
wall
studio.
is expanding, though. We had a few more jerseys.
You know, I got these microphones. Like I said, it's a low budget show, but there is money in these microphones, this soundboard.
It might be low budget, but there is budget.
There's budget here, and there's definitely time as we're getting better with our behind the scenes stuff. The graphics are getting better. The overlays on the screen are getting better. We just had our first guest. Are we ready for our second guest?
Yeah, let's cue up Damien here. I'm gonna try to give him a call in the background.
Damian Grimm is our second guest. He is the owner of the Miami is in the Closing with Steve Dynasty Fantasy Football League. Damian and I go way back. If I told you the years, you're going to be like, dang, they're old. But we are old. We go back to about 1997. Damian Grimm. He's the owner of the Miami is in the Closing with Steve Dynasty Fantasy League, and he is currently in a top 4 position, ready to go to the playoffs. And as we did with Ben Phillips, we're going to check with Damian and see what some of his strategies were, see what some of his fantasy history is, catch a couple opinions on some other things. Fun fact, Damian's another Buckeye just like me, and we had a terrible day yesterday, probably not having the best morning.
I think we are connected. We're just waiting on his video to come through.
Okay, well, we'll touch on that. I know me and Damian talk frequently. we go way back. And yeah, we were definitely in contact with yesterday's game, which not sure what was going on in the chat, but I didn't want to have to face the music on my show and talk about what went on in yesterday's game. But as we have on the screen, there is Damian Grimm, the owner of the Miami is in the Closing with Steve Dynasty League. Damian, how's it going today? Hello, Damian. How's it going today?
Hello?
What's up?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? We're just making sure this audio is going good. Can you hear us, Damian? Or are we having mics out as we do a quick introduction with Damian Grimm of the Closing with Steve Dynasty Fantasy Football League? The Miami is. I hear you saying some words right there. How's that going?
I can barely hear you.
Okay, I can hear you. I couldn't hear you before, but now I can hear you right there. So is this working enough to where we can back and forth here? What up, Dame? You trimmed off your beard a little bit too. I remember the last time I seen you, that bad boy was healthy.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear
See
me?
if I can troubleshoot in the background.
Well, as we're getting things together, I can still talk here for a little bit. Damian, stay close. We're just trying to get microphone issues. Let us know if you can hear. You can sit here and talk for anything. We just wanted to check in and see how long Damian's been playing fantasy football. I'm pretty sure we were in the same league. You know, Brian, how I was talking about that 2005 league where I had Larry Johnson and I won a championship by winning 10 straight games. This guy was getting like 200 yards every game. I'm going to talk about that as much as I can because it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I won a championship my first year. Thought I was going to be so good and keep winning championships. And
Yeah, you start off high, you think you're going to keep going.
no.
Or let's jump back to Damien, see if we can hear him.
Damian?
Can you hear us better?
I can hear a lot better now.
Okay, let's turn the
Hey.
background music off. Maybe that'll help a little
I'm
bit.
going to turn down the music a little bit. That's a good point. Maybe that'd be for us. Is that for Damian? Damian, how's this working out for you? Check one, check two. Hey, Dame. Can you hear us?
What's up?
So we were just
Yeah,
going to...
much better now.
Okay. I'm not sure how we can get your volume up, but that's fine. I got ours down. We wanted to check in with you, Damian. How long have you been playing fantasy football? I believe it's the same length as me. And how many championships have you won? Because that adds a little validity to what you're doing. Championships obviously being with cash involved. Because I got 4 myself. I won the one the first year that we were playing, and then it was about 5-6 years before I won again. Brian, you just got the one, huh? Just last
Yeah, I got
year.
the one last year. It was my first one. I think the first few years, I think I've been runner up like 3 or 4 times in league. So it's nice to finally pull one home.
So I was in a league with my guy Zach. You know Omar's uncle.
Okay.
He's the other owner of the restaurant, and this was a big money league, man. They were putting $200 down for the buy-in, and actually made the finals in that 4 years in a row. And there was a cash
They
prize.
didn't invite you back, did they?
They did not invite me back because the last year we raised the buy-in to $500. So I was a little weary of this one. However, I was pretty confident in my talent level. So, everybody coughs up to $500 and that put $4,000 in the pot, and all the money was just going to first and second place.
Yeah, well.
And
That's
it
top
actually
heavy.
went down to me and our buddy Omar, and we made the final, and yeah, I got a chip there. So, Damien, how are we looking now? Can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Okay, so as we were saying, we'll just ask you some questions, and then you just go ahead and respond as you were. How long have you been playing fantasy football for, and how many championships have you won?
Oh, we can't hear Damien.
Yeah, we just lost you on the volume there. Yeah, we can't hear you right now. Maybe if you hold your phone, can we hear you? Is it when he sets his phone down, maybe?
I don't know. Technical difficulties. Damien's talking. We can't hear him.
Damien's talking. We can't hear you. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no.
There's a microphone issue. Well, as I was saying, though, I had won this big old cash prize for this tournament or this league that we were in. And as the day I'm winning, I have COVID. It's the first day I have COVID. I can't even celebrate because I feel like I got ran over by a truck. So I won like,
Let's see if we can hear Damien again.
Damien, can we hear you? I cannot hear you.
It's like cutting out when he tries to talk.
I got all the music down as we're trying to work through this, Damien, again. Technical difficulties. This is our first time trying this. Trying to figure out why we can't hear you because we definitely want to get some insight with Damien because Damien was pretty consistent. He was like a mid team last year. I think he picked at 5, so I'm pretty sure he was like the last playoff team. And then he made it this year. He's all the way in the top 4 seed. So, you know, he's had a nice consistent team. He's primed for a playoff run. Obviously, as a wealth of knowledge, that's why we wanted him included in one of the first few guests on the show as a I know Damien's been playing with me since 2005, so that's about 19
almost
years
20 years.
fantasy
Wow. 2
football
decades.
experience. So, and the thing that comes with that many years, it's not that you like you know a lot and you're better than people. It's you've seen a lot. You've seen this kind of strategy, that kind of strategy. You've seen something crazy happen. You've seen something consistent happen. So, like that's what comes with experience. Most of like the rest of life, you just you
Can we
pick
hear
up
you
as
now,
you go.
Damien?
Damien,
try
let's see if we can
talking?
hear you now.
Nothing. Did you mute
Nope.
yourself on your end? The
Are
little
you
microphone
muted on your phone?
on accident?
Or if you pick up your phone and just hold it, can we hear you? I don't know. We're just trying to run through some troubleshooting options. Or if you press on your screen, I don't know if there's that. I don't know. Maybe something on our end. Like I said, we're trying to figure it out. Either way, I'll get on the phone here after and we'll chat and catch up
Let's
because
try to disconnect and reconnect. I'll
yeah,
call you
let's do
right
that. We're
back.
gonna disconnect. Call you back. I'm gonna pump this music back up till we get him. Sorry, everybody. Thanks for working with us as we go through our technical difficulties. I
Let's
hate
call
saying
right
that because I just feel like it's not really difficult. It's just like we just got to
A lot
go
of
through it.
nuances,
Yeah,
right?
we just got to go through it. I'm not really upset at anything that happens.
Sorry.
We're all learning.
Damien's reconnected. Can we hear you?
Damien,
I got nothing.
check 1, check 2. Damien, we cannot hear Damien,
Hello, hello. Check, check.
and I don't know why that is. I don't know, but we really thought we had something here with these guys. As
Yeah.
it went pretty well with Ben, and you know, we're just trying to add a different aspect to our show. We still wanted to touch on some rankings for a quick second,
Can you hear
and
me?
Oh, we
we
can
can
him.
hear Damien. Let's go.
All right, let's jump over.
Check over Damien, and it went away.
It went away again?
No,
We can't hear
but we
him.
heard you one time, and then it went away.
Let's see
But
if
I can
Let me
read.
see if I touch this here.
I can read your lips
All right,
there,
let's
though.
try again.
Talk again. No,
we can't hear him.
no, we can't hear you, and this part sucks because
Hello, hello.
I like how your bright shirt looks on the camera. That's definitely really cool. And yeah, we just gonna touch on some stuff. How about that?
Technical difficulties, man.
How about that game yesterday, man? That was disappointing, bro.
There was
Yeah, I
2
know-
games that were
I
disappointing.
know we can't hear you, but I'm just trying to read your lips. But yeah,
Can we hear him now? Man, what is going on with this thing?
I can't hear him. I think he said fire Ryan Day. Shake your head if that's correct. Is that correct? We should fire Ryan Day. Yeah.
Okay.
Last year I was definitely a fan of not firing Ryan Day because of the winning percentage. And this year I am for he's got to go. Get him out of here right now.
Let's see if we can hear him now. When the music's on, we can hear him.
Damien, talk.
Hello?
Oh, we
When the
can hear him.
music's on, we can hear you. The music's just going to be on. So maybe that's it. Okay, I know what I'll do. Pause this. If I pause this, Damien, can you talk?
I can.
Oh,
Okay.
there it is. It's on the
I figured
soundboard.
something out. Damien,
Okay.
we got
Sorry
you.
about
Damien,
that.
how many years have you been playing fantasy football? How many championships have you won?
I've been playing for quite a long time.
Yeah, we could hear him
Uh,
now. Yeah. Long time.
I would say I've won 4 or 5 championships. I don't really keep track that well.
Damn,
Yeah.
he don't keep track. He's got him on
Give
his
him a round of
trophy
applause
show.
for that.
I'll
That's
give
a lot
him
of
a couple
championships.
rounds of applause for that, Damien. Okay, we're working good. This is rolling. Now we're gonna row with it. So congratulations on your chips. We were in that 2005 league together, right? Is that when you started? When I started? When we lived at that house in Avon Lake?
Is that with Kender?
Dave Kenders, and it was his friends, and some guy owned it. We didn't know much about the guy, and we drafted live draft in a restaurant.
Yeah, B-dubs,
Yeah.
I think, right?
I don't think it was B Dubs. It was something random. I don't think it was B Dubs. It was something random in like a exclusive room too. I remember that. It was kind of awkward. But anyway, that was a fun jump off experience to this because it was a live draft, which is much more fun than a online computer one. Those move quicker and a lot of grown men are busy. It's hard to, not be busy, but yeah,
live drafts take some time.
Am I mistaken, or did you win the first or
I
second year?
I won that first one. So I've been telling the story on our
thought so.
show.
I thought so.
Priest Holmes was the darling of the league that year, and people got him early. But I remember wanting to draft backups to people that were injury prone, and that's one of my styles. If I can't get Christian McCaffrey, let me get his backup. What's an example for this year or the past couple years? And yeah, I got Larry Johnson, and Priest Holmes got hurt like week 4, and Larry Johnson came in and was rushing for like 200 yards every game. Brian, we can look up the stats one day. Maybe I'll make a graphic for it, but he was rushing for like 200 yards, 2 touchdowns like every game. I won 10 straight games in a row, finished off the regular season, destroyed the playoffs, but it took the guy who was running the league. This is always a fun story I tell people too. Everybody put up cash, and I'm thinking we're winning cash. Give me the cash.
Yeah.
Like I want the cash. I don't really want much else. Just I can't spend nothing else. So the guy like duck and dodges me for like a month and a half,
no.
and he spends over $100 or something on this trophy, and then gives me the rest of the money as the cash.
Oh
So I'm
my
like,
gosh.
okay, cool. At least I got a trophy. I'm thinking my name's on
The
the
trophy
trophy.
was sweet.
Trophy was pretty sweet, but guess what? My name's not on it. It looks like I could have got that at a garage sale. It says 2005
True,
XFL champs. And then there was a whole nother league called XFL after that. So
Yeah.
now it's like it don't
Oops.
even make freaking sense. So that was like 100
Good
something of
story.
my dollars right there. But and that was our first. And fantasy football looked a lot different 19 years ago than it does now. But Damien, we're in year 2 of this Dynasty League, the Closing with Steve
let's
League.
pull up the standings.
We wanted to talk to you real quick. What was your strategy during the draft, which we were in person together at the draft? That was an amazing night, me, you, and E, and that was fun. But what was your strategy as far as like how you wanted to build your team? What do you like to do or not like to do?
Well, I can say anytime I do an auction draft, which I've done a number of, I'm usually not after the high dollar players. I like to wait kind of in the wings and add a bunch of guys later on that are way cheaper. It's good and bad. I don't have some of those top guys per se, but I end up with a lot of options, which doesn't always work out the greatest because, who
Right.
knows who's going to be good every week. So
Right, and that's kind of a style
Yeah,
that
more of
mirrors
a-
Brian, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I did. That was my first auction draft with this league, and I kind of just let bidding wars go for the first few players. Like somebody over here was high on Chase.
I was a cowboy in the draft. Pew pew pew.
Highest bid player, 70
yeah,
some
this
dollars.
dude dropped like all his money on
Yeah.
like 2 Bengals players and was like, "All right, I'm just going to suck for a year."
$200 budget. I'm going to use half of
And
it.
It was
hopefully I find
70
some other guys.
It was 77 on Jamar Chase, and it
gosh.
was 40 on Joe Burrow. But I was crafty with the rest of my money.
Yeah.
So I want to get a couple top guys, but I was pretty crafty with the rest of my money. I looked for younger people that were going to have a chance this year, so which that kind of worked out well for me.
Getting beat
So
up with the IR spots.
with
this year.
being crafty last year and being on the waiver wire as you were, how do you feel about your team this year, and especially as you're heading into a likely playoff push?
I feel like I have a solid team. Quarterback kind of took a crap on me this year. like I said, I have a lot of options,
You do.
but
You got 4
it-
solid options I'm looking at on the screen.
it's my team has had a lot of injuries this year, but I think I'm in a solid position.
Okay. So in the
Checking the
points
standings.
total race, yeah, let's see how far Damien is out in that points total race there. So
I'm a long ways
okay,
out.
so I'm just gonna go ahead and let you know you got no shot there because that's
Yeah.
that's at least
But
200
if we're being
something
realistic, there's only one guy that really has a shot. You're sitting next to him.
Yeah.
different. Yeah. So
It looks like
Um,
with 2 weeks left, I got a 150 point cushion. I feel pretty comfortable with that. So really, the fight is for second total points. We
yeah,
do
because
have
there is a
second total
prize for
points prize.
second
Yeah.
place,
So this
Damien.
year, looks like three teams are sitting right there in the 1700s. It's 6 point difference between Mike here and then Ben, who we just had on the show.
And then that Las
And
Vegas
then
team.
Las Vegas is closely behind. So keep an eye on the.
And the Las
next 2
Vegas
weeks
team
here.
is the reason why we have points total prizes because, you know, he's just a little unlucky with his win-loss record, but he's clearly scoring a lot of points. But look at his points against. He's clearly getting scored on a lot as he is the third most scored on him. So sometimes in fantasy
well,
football.
I hope that trend continues since I'm playing that guy this week.
Right. Well, so in this league also, you know, besides skill, luck is involved obviously in any fantasy football venture, but skill sticks out a little bit more and you know, you've risen to the top this year. You got a decent looking team. Playoffs coming up. What's your strategy going forward for your playoff push? Are you looking to stay pat? Are you looking to still be crafty on the waiver wire?
Well, if there's anything that opens up, sure, but I mean,
The waiver wire's been looking
it's a tough point to
desolate
find
last
much
few
on the
weeks.
waiver wire.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have a lot of options, so it's going to be who's got the hot hand or who's got the best matchup for the week.
Yeah,
That's
it looks like a tight
Um,
matchup. We're looking at your matchup with the Las Vegas Outlaws. Looks like you're projected down by 6, so anybody's game still. Quite a toss-up. All your players still yet to go. They've only had one player go.
It's definitely a toss up this week.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I've definitely liked some of your youth at receiver, especially Drake London and Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm a huge fan of being receiver heavy and then figuring everything else from there. I noticed your team, as you said, it's deep enough to be balanced too, because when I look at your whole lineup there, you got near the top guys at all of your positions, and it's actually working. It's a pretty consistent strategy for anybody else, because a lot of our viewers are introductory fantasy players or somewhat beginners, so we're showcasing different styles, and me and Brian's style different a little bit. Obviously I'm a little more cowboy, Brian's a little more calm, and this strategy right here similar to Brian's, and it's working for you. So congratulations on how your team's going and how the season's going for you.
Yeah, the draft this year, I drafted Jonathan Brooks, and then Chuba Hubbard was like, I've been in the league for 5 years and I've sucked, but this year I'm going to be really good.
Yeah.
So that really didn't work out at all.
Name of the game there.
Well,
Good
and
stuff.
you got some time on that. So
Yeah.
in this league, because we draft these rookie players, especially at the running back position, I don't ever expect a rookie running back to do much. I'll take it. Rookie receivers will perform here and there, and then what Brock Bowers is doing right now is insane. But tight ends don't typically perform either. But year 2, guys. So Damien, I actually like the Jonathan Brooks pick for yourself going into next year. Even though they did just extend Hubbard, that doesn't mean you know that Brooks
True.
isn't still going to get some work and then
Yeah.
perform for fantasy
And then,
purposes.
Hulk here, he had some flashes of talent this year. I mean, if the Patriots can ever get it together, that's another good.
Yeah, I loved that
pick to hold
selection
on.
too at receiver, Damien, at Polk.
Yeah.
And you know they got their quarterback of the future. They just got to get their stuff together.
Mhm.
They may be tanking this year, so
Yeah,
you know
coaching change.
teams
you
aren't
gotta
going to
get
come
used
out
to
and
it.
tell you they're tanking, but this is a classic scenario where all the signs are there. You know, especially they didn't
Provided
even
that-
start Drake May at the beginning. They were like, hold on, we're going to start Brissett because we got to make sure we lose a few. But they'll add some quality talent next year, and then that should look a little better for you next year. So, Damian Grimm, the second guest on our live show. How'd this go, Brian? So far, how'd we do with our bringing our live guests on?
We're working through it. I think we know the soundboard with the audio through the Skype. We got that. Took a minute to get the tiles up, but I don't know. I feel good about it. We just doubled our total guests.
There it is. That's what's up. And then we're going to be sharing after the fact. And Damien, you can sit here and let people know if they want to see how you did on the show. We're just a beginning show. We're just a couple chill guys, man. But we have a passion for sports. And obviously, me and Damien go way back. I consider you my best friend. And I'd love to have you on for multiple more times in the future. And we can talk more at length about anything. Or even if you want to stay on for the little gambling set, what do you say? I got a couple gambling recommendations we could talk about. Damien's been known to dabble a little bit
Okay.
here.
See what I can do here.
Let me see.
I
if-
love to gamble.
Okay. Well, so while Brian gets all of that together, what do you like that's going on today, Damien?
I usually put in bets every day. I have not put any bets in yet today,
Got to look everything
Um,
over.
but I'm sure I will. I'm more of a prop bet, not prop bet, but yards, touchdowns kind
Okay.
of guy, not necessarily wins and losses.
Yeah, the wins and losses we talk about are tricky because, like there's
yeah.
strange things that happen sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's hard. So we got the record up
So
there.
this is the show's record, which is mostly me. Brian chimes in from time to time, and any Brian input is welcome because he's actually fire when he has input. I started off strong, Damien. I was rolling. We were as high as about 66%. Right now, I'm at 51%, man. I'm 3-7 in my last 3 weeks here. I got cleaned up last week, my first reverse sweep. And then in the last 4 games, we went
Yeah.
ahead and picked all those Thanksgiving
Thursday game
games.
didn't fare well for us. I mean, I think the biggest miss was Miami on the money line. We had some hope for them, thought they could overcome the cold, and if you watch that game, they were
Fun fact,
awful.
Damien is a Miami Dolphins fan. Yeah, we thought they were going to overcome. What's your thoughts on that game?
I am a big Miami fan. Picking Miami this week was just stupid. There.
It's like we should have known.
They can't play in the cold weather at all.
That's got to
But-
end sometime, man.
It-
That's
it's
my
gotta end
thought.
sometime, but
Well, I want to be the
I
one that
didn't see
calls
it
it.
ending against what I would say is a solid team this year.
So I just thought also they were rolling a little bit. The offense looked fairly good the week before. That factored in a little bit. Clearly, I was wrong.
See what we
Yeah, I
got this
mean,
week.
I was rooting for Miami, if that helps,
Yeah.
but
I think we all were rooting for Miami. Didn't want to see those
I-
Packers.
I didn't see
in
I didn't
there.
see a win coming.
No.
So for our recommendations for this Sunday, I only have 2 because, like I said, I'm not on fire right now, so I'm not about to keep spitting out flames in case people are betting my bets. Today I think the Bengals take care of business, cover that spread -3. It's -2.5 some places, -3 last night when I made this graphic. It's a must-have game for the Bengals. So this is like a de facto playoff game for the Bengals. The Steelers can afford to lose this one, and they'll be just fine. It's a rivalry game. Bengals defense doesn't look good, but that's okay because the Steelers offense isn't that good. So I just like this matchup for those purposes. I also like the over, but I'm not confident enough to bet it. Damien, what's your thoughts on this game?
I would say the one thing I'd be worried about with the Bengals today is if you look at Pittsburgh's matchup last week, they played the Browns, they lost. TJ Watt pretty much got made to look like a bum.
I love that.
And he's going to be coming back with a vengeance this week.
That's a good point. He always
So
plays well
that's
against the
one thing I'd be
Bengals.
worried about.
He's got some kind of axe to grind with Joe Burrow, too. I do not like TJ
Traditionally,
Watt.
they have not had a great offensive line for a few years now.
Yeah, we're
Um,
struggling with injuries on the line this year, too.
I feel like TJ Watt,
But here's the
kind of
point I will
figure
make to counter that. Like I said, the Bengals are coming off of a bye week, so they're well rested. People are locked in, and obviously, this is a team at the beginning of the year had Super Bowl aspirations. And most people would have been like, "Yeah, that's cool." I think they were within the top 8 Super Bowl odds.
Probably. They're definitely capable of putting points up when
but,
they're really clicking.
Yeah, I mean, the ownership cheaped out on defense. We let a couple people walk. We're obviously not as good on defense, but the Steelers' offense doesn't scare me, and the Bengals can put up 30. That's just kind of my reasoning for it. So for the show, I'm like I said, I'm just rolling with that for our record, and yeah, you're just worried if Burrow gets hurt, that kills everything. So that's where the Watt effect would come in. But I'm just hoping that most of Burrow's career, he's proved he can get sacked and still win the game. They
Oh,
went on that whole Super Bowl run
yeah,
and he
he had
got
like the
sacked
most
like
sacks
20
in the league,
times.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I can
Let's
see from your picks earlier you're a parlay guy.
So I do like to parlay, but for the show, I'm pretty much recommending straight bets. But for me and you, for just for fun purposes, oh yeah, I'm shooting my shot, bro. I want to win some money, bro.
Yeah.
I shoot shots all over.
But
We can talk about
it's
some touchdown guys because I got 7 guys today that I think are going to score. But I'm about to try something for the first time today, where you do those round robins and you bet like 2x2s, 2x3s, or whatever it is, to where if any 2 of them or any 3 of them or any 4 of them score or get it, then you can win bets for that. I don't know. I'm about to dabble into that a little bit today. I got a little,
yeah, I've never done that myself. I've always wondered, but
but for just a straight
parlay guy
bet
uses
matchup,
that
because
Lake Shore.
yeah. Well, the smartest thing to do in gambling, though, safest thing, especially people that play with big money, is straight bets on things you're confident in that you've
Yeah.
researched heavily, and that's what I'm trying to do for the
You're not gonna get
show.
crazy odds, but at least you can.
And then
slowly
I'll
build
pick some
yourself
plus
up.
odds because I'm picking a upset. But for the show, I'm not recommending parlays because the simple
you
fact
got,
is they don't likely hit.
Yeah. So your second recommendation for the show this week, you got the Bills to cover the spread against the Niners and a couple feet of snow.
That's the snow game, and like I said, this levels out passing game to me. I just think Buffalo's rolling. They got a lot to prove this year. They're at home. They love a snow game in that town. It's going to be nighttime. California team coming to the East Coast, snow game.
Niners definitely are
Niners aren't
struggling
looking
this
good
year.
this year. This isn't last year's Niners, too. Like, I'm not taking into account anything from previous years. I'm just judging what I see this year. Bills are good against the spread, too. So, Damien, what's your thoughts on this?
I do like the Bills. I think they're going to dominate this game. They've been playing extremely well for, I don't know, the last 6-8 weeks. They are obviously better in the snow than the 49ers. I don't know if there's been any confirmation, but I think Purdy is not playing again, right?
I've heard that he is playing, but we can check that while we're live right now. So while Brian looks that up, I have heard that he is playing, that he's likely to play, so everything should be fine
Okay.
there. But again, if he's definitely not playing, this spread's probably going to move crazier. If Purdy's not playing, I'm hammering the Bills in the spread. But yeah, I like that for this week. And these are the only 2 picks that I put together for this week, Brian. I didn't make any other graphics for the recap of it because, like I said, we picked 4 games on the.
Yeah, we had the Thursday show. Kind of
Yeah.
got some of the fun stuff in
Yeah,
there.
and I'm down to 51%, man. I want to be over 60%. Damien, that's where I like to be in a realistic gambling world because 60% means you're plus money. And even though I'm at 51%, I've picked a few plus odds. Damien, most notably, I recommended on the show before the game. I called that game that the Browns were going to beat the Ravens, dude. I swear I knew that was going to happen. I just knew it. The Magic, Mr. Jim Donovan passing away. Rest in peace, sir. Sometimes there's just unexplainable things in sports. You can throw stats out the window. Sometimes there's just random magic that happens, and I like to fish for that a little.
Purdy hasn't had an update since yesterday,
So,
but it says questionable going into the game. He didn't have any setbacks at Friday or Saturday.
so it looks like he's still
With
likely.
that spread, they're kind of telling you that he's not going to play, though. But maybe he will.
Yeah. Well, and then like I said, in a snow game, maybe they just
Yeah.
hold him out
I
even
like
if
the
he is
spread
okay.
either way, honestly.
Yeah, I like
I do
this.
too. I like it either way, but
And
if he
the
doesn't play, it's
the
a
public
no-brainer.
money's not too crazy on this. The public money, I believe, was only at like 70% on this. So whenever I see Damien, public money at 90%, that's when I start get weary too, because then I think, oh, this is where Vegas is just gonna swoop in and there's gonna be the random upset like that Browns over the Ravens or something. So every now and then there's just something random that happens, but I don't think that happens here.
I can tell you guys, I did go to the Pittsburgh game.
Oh, you were at the
with the
snow
Browns.
game.
That was pretty sweet.
That is wonderful. I was actually telling him that me and you have been to a couple snow games, and
That's
here you are
awesome.
adding one.
Yeah, me and my son went to the game. Honestly, I
Wow.
had no desire to go before the game,
Right.
because I knew it was going to be cold and crappy outside.
Right.
But once it actually started happening and the way the snow was coming down, it ended up being an amazing game.
Yeah. And I try to
It helps that
explain
they
that.
won.
Yeah.
What's that?
It helps that they won, but I was going to say I try to explain that here because obviously Detroit is an indoor team and Ford Field is wonderful. If you ever get a chance, I think you've actually been in there, Damien, for something else.
Yeah.
Maybe not a football game, but yeah, Ford Field's beautiful. But when you're out in the elements like that, I always tell the story, Damien. We went to a game in Woody. I don't know if I ever told you this story. We went to a game, and Cleveland's on the lakefront. As you've been to the Cleveland Browns Stadium, he went to SummerSlam last
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
But on the lakefront there, those winds get to kicking up. And especially in the wintertime, whatever the degrees are, the wind chill's going to be much stronger. And we went to a game, Damien, if this restarts your memory on this, where it was like -3 below, but with the wind chills, it was like -20s, pushing -30s below. And
Yeah.
we were tailgating. So we pull up in this van and we get out this van and we fire up this grill and it's so cold, no one leaves from around the fire. We're just standing around the fire. We're cooking food right over the fire. We're pulling it right off the fire, just holding it for a quick second, and you can literally eat it because it cooled down that fast. And then as we're walking to the stadium into the wind, we're like fighting through the wind and we're just like, and it's so
The icicles out your nose.
dude, it is so cold. We had no business being at this game. So it's a Browns-Bengals game, and I'm the only Bengals fan, and I'm with 3 other Browns fans, as that is in Cleveland. I guess I'm just a weirdo like that. But so we sit through the first half, and then at halftime, because we were sitting in separate seats, 2 and 2, and at halftime, we link up to hang for a minute, and yeah, they were joking about being ready to leave, but didn't want to leave because my team was winning. And I'm like, heck no, man, let's get out of here. This is stupid. It's really cold. We got to get out of here. It wasn't as beautiful as the snow game you were just at, because that on TV, it was fat snowflakes, and that was just a beautiful
It was
sight.
amazing.
That
Like,
would've been
there was a couple of times where it came down so hard, it was even hard to see the players like on the field,
No way.
sitting in the stands. You look around, everyone had a pile of snow on top of their head and shoulders. It was a really fun game to be at. One of the more fun games I've ever been to.
That's
with
awesome. And then
just
again,
how
yeah, that was a win over the
everything played out.
Steelers. That's the rival, like. And I caught a Browns game this year. Obviously, I don't know if you knew I went to that Browns-Bengals game this year, and always an experience. I love going to that stadium. And like I said, I'm not a fan of the Browns per se, but like I want them to do good, and all my friends and family are, fans of them. So seeing them do well makes me happy too. So, and that was obviously, the Browns, they're not having the best season, but they had a primetime game there and they were able to pull one out,
The one positive about the Browns being so bad all the time is when you go to the cold weather games, they're usually out of it by halftime, so you can just leave anyways.
Yeah. That's a
There you
good
go.
point. That's
There's
a good
been
point.
a lot of cold games I've been to where it's like, all right, it's halftime. Let's get out of here.
Yep, this is over. We obviously
They're down
suck.
by 25, and
Or in that
it's time
same
to go.
scenario, though, you could like sit wherever you want. Like, oh, you know what? All these people left. Let me just go sit down here.
True.
You know what's funny though is on the broadcast where you can hear like it sounds like a guy banging on aluminum for those games. Do you ever pick that up
Yeah.
on the broadcast?
I guess they narrowed it down to like one guy.
No, I know
Or,
who it
two
is.
guys
We know
that
who it is.
down there banging on the side of the thing.
Nope. Me and
The
Jamie know exactly who it is. Me, Jamie, Art, and Jen went to a game and we sat literally right by that. I should have been recording it if I knew it was going to be as viral as it was, but it was a piece of aluminum siding that was supposed to be bolted into some concrete in like a party deck area that they made. And when it's, third down and it's time to make noise, it was these two like college age-ish kids, maybe mid-20 kids, and obviously Cleveland fans, man, Clevelanders, we're wild, dude. We know how to party, right? I mean, like, especially you're going to cold games, you need a couple cold ones, like girls, you're not even going to make it through the first half if you haven't had anything to drink. Yeah, these kids were banging on this thing all game. No, it was fun. And then there was even a couple Bengals fans that, when the Bengals did something good, they went over and were pounding on it too. And I was like, holy shit, dude, you're gonna get your ass whooped. And that's the dog pound. That was in the dog pound section, whatever. I think it was 321. I'm not trying to snitch on nobody because I don't know those fellas' names, but yeah. Okay.
I can say during the game with Pittsburgh, obviously they're hated rivals, and
right.
there's a couple times where they're waving their terrible towels. One of the guys behind me grabbed some, I would say kid, but he was definitely of age.
Right.
Grabbed his towel, just threw it. He didn't say nothing. He just sat and looked all.
So speaking
mad
of
about
that, because I always tell Brian how Clevelanders, especially, and some Ohioans, we're a little abrasive, bro. Like we're a little like tough and confrontational for like sometimes reason and sometimes no reason. Being that I've lived here in Michigan now for about 13 years, I've kind of mellowed out a little from some of my original Ohio blood theories. But so touching on that Ohio State Michigan game.
Oh man, I've been messing
yesterday.
with the thing. This isn't nice. I
What?
put Damien on the JJ.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, so we took
I got a better one too.
we took a loss yesterday in that game, Damien, and I always tell Brian, like, the Michigan fans, even though we may feel one way about our teams, they're a little more mellow than
Mike,
the
you're on there
Buckeye
now.
fans.
Now I got Mike on there.
Yeah, as he's
Sorry.
putting our head over a
I'm just
JJ
playing.
McCarthy jersey
I'm
behind us.
just
And no,
playing.
it's fine, and we're fine. We took a loss yesterday, and we know we need to be better. You want to win this game. That was a big game yesterday, Damien. Share your quick thoughts now that we can hear you on yesterday's game.
I felt like it was a very poor game plan by the Buckeyes, which seems to be kind of the MO for Ryan Day in big games. You have a strength, which is your receiving core. Michigan has a strength, which is their interior defensive line. And
Right.
what they decided to do was run directly up the middle, 2 out of 3 plays every single possession, and then try to throw the ball on third down.
And not only on third
Didn't
down
make a whole
pass,
lot of sense.
it was just short out passes. Now we can't throw anything deep. We're
I
not
think we're
running
doing-
anyone down the seam.
We were doing the same thing, just run, pass, punt.
Yeah, but that was the game plan that Michigan should have had.
Yeah,
Want to keep the ball out of Ohio State's hands. They did that.
and they were still throwing.
They weren't going
picks.
to win a shootout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
Like-
can't believe there were 3 points scored in the entire second half.
yeah.
Yeah,
And-
that's crazy. But
Insane.
if you look at it, I mean, you look at the one possession where they got the ball down fairly close. I think it was around the 30-yard line or 20-some yard line. And they ran the ball on first down through a pass to G. Scott coming out for a half yard, and then ran the ball on third down. And then missed a field goal.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that, and
That
then we
poor
followed
field
it
goal
up,
kicker.
missed a field goal.
Do
So,
they want his head on a stake, or is he kind of gonna?
so I'm not necessarily
Skate
like
by.
that because we've never really been confident in our kickers.
No.
Most famously in the game against Georgia, was that the bowl game? It was Georgia or Clemson where we
It
missed the
was.
field goal, and we should have won that game.
Oh, yeah,
and
should have went to the Natty.
we should have
that
went
year.
to a national
Here
championship right
Michigan
there.
lost too.
So we've never really had confident kickers to where every time a kicker trots out, I'm always a little worried. And that was the case yesterday. We missed 2 field goals, and then the 2 costly interceptions. Those were huge. A lot of the smoke has been on Ryan Day, which I totally agree. He's got to go. We got to get someone else. But also, Will Howard wasn't really it for me either.
Will Howard isn't any good.
I wouldn't say he's terrible, but I'm not gonna say he's good. His stats will
If you
have
look
you
at his stats,
will have you thinking he's
Pressure.
okay. But like,
look at his stats under pressure. He's a terrible quarterback.
yeah, and I wasn't impressed in the Oregon game. I wasn't really impressed in the Penn State game. We found a way to win the Penn State game. The Oregon game, we just narrowly lost. Even though this was a narrow loss, 10 points. I mean, not only are we a good talent-wise offense, supposedly that was the most expensive offense if you can buy teams now. And, if
Sure.
that's fine, I'm a fan of a school that has money. We talked about that before, Brian. At least our schools have money. That's the product that got put on the field yesterday. That was just insane for
What
me.
I don't understand also is, I mean, he came back after looking like he could potentially be injured, but you still have Devin Brown as your backup there.
Yeah.
That dude's hot garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, we redshirted, didn't we redshirt, hot recruit Air Noland, and this
They
was
did.
this was a
They also
scenario
have
where
Julian Sayin, who I think he originally committed to another school and then came here. Very high recruit, a lot of potential. Probably is going to be your quarterback next year.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
With the way that the current format is set up, I'm not necessarily going to say I'm too worried about us. We're usually a consistent university. We've only had 1 year outside of 2 losses, I believe, in the last 15 years. So, we got a shot at a playoffs. And then obviously, that was a winnable game against this blue team because, they just landed a #1 recruit in the nation who was a backyard kid from around here.
Yeah, I was saying the years one team seems to have it in the bag are the years you got to be the most worried. Both
It's
ways.
always a good game.
Yeah,
Well, not
doesn't matter.
always.
Yeah, not always.
State's actually been getting smashed for a few years now.
I don't
Well,
know, it's
Damien, I
Um,
was going to
been a
suggest
decade
to
or more
you.
on the other end of it.
Particularly
So
Michigan smashed. So
Well,
I
I was
mean,
going to
it-
suggest to you, Damien, let's go to this game next year. What do you say? You got the stones to go out to this game? Let's figure it out.
to Michigan, Ohio State.
Yep, let's go out here in Ann Arbor. You just got to drive out here. Well, we'll see who else is
Yeah,
going. So it's safe. I've actually been there, and I feel safe. No one started any trouble with me, and I'm not really a trouble starter, so I was fine. But in the flip side, because me and Brian have talked about it, I wouldn't say a lot of Blue fans would be safe there, especially after yesterday's game. The first thing I was telling some of my coworkers are like, some of these Blue fans better be careful walking to their car
Yeah,
because
I mean-
security ain't everywhere. And Ohio people, like I said, they'll fight for no freaking reason. Dame, would you say that's an Ohio trait or specifically a Clevelander trait?
I mean, it could jump off.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say for no reason, but
Well, I remember Cubs Indians at that time World Series, and I remember seeing a couple scuffles as we were trying to scurry our way out of there because of the rain that day. I actually did queue up a graphic. I'm not sure where I put it or if I even sent it. I don't know if I sent it. Was that everything in the drive?
let me take a look.
I have a photo, Damien, because we were trying to.
I was gonna say I'd like to go down there for the game, but I wouldn't go without you. So
Yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
a little safer.
Yeah, if you went in a larger group to Columbus, overall, Columbus ain't that bad. I'm just saying, like, that rivalry, it's intense. And anybody that'll tell you that the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry is not the greatest rivalry in sports, they're wrong, and they've never seen it from either side. And I have the benefit from living on both sides. I still stand where I stand. That'll never change. Some people move cities and adopt certain franchises, but Damien, I always tell these guys, I got no beef with the Lions and with the Tigers because our city never had any beef with those two franchises. But
true.
I don't like of the other ones around here. I will go.
My youngest son is actually a Lions fan.
That's right. He did say that.
Oh, yeah.
Lions are having him give a round of applause for that. Let's go, Max. He's got to be having fun because he has no idea how many years they were terrible.
I waited
so.
30 years for this.
Yeah, he really only knows them as a decent team.
Yeah,
so
so to him, they've been good his whole life. So
The 0-16 year, we each got one of those under our belts. So.
yeah. These two cities are pretty similar. Like I said, especially me living on both sides. Good people, both sides of the battle. Just people love their teams. I've stuck to mine though. I don't care where I live on the planet. The teams that I like are the teams that I like, and it is what
I
it
agree.
is. And it's been a rough week for my teams. I do a nice jersey setup for everything, but my Cavs got 2 losses here in a row, and Damien, that's not good either. As our Cavs were looking good. My Rangers took a loss, even though they just won yesterday. They don't look good right now in hockey, New York Rangers. Obviously, the Buckeyes lost. The Bengals are having a terrible season, so I just wore my Waterboy jersey today. At least they won the Bourbon Bowl.
All right, well, we're
yeah,
coming up at
as you know, my teams are not. I mean, the Cavs are good. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but they've had a couple of losses. But otherwise, the rest of my teams aren't looking so hot right now.
Yeah, I feel you there. Well, Damien, we're definitely pretty much around at our time frame that we usually operate in here, man. I just can't thank you enough for joining us for the show. Stuck around a little extra too. That was a little
Yeah,
cool
it
for
was
some
fun.
added content
Yeah,
there.
good.
As I was telling our previous guest, Mr. Ben Phillips, we do look forward to having the participants in the playoffs on the show. So obviously you're heading to the playoffs, and if you make it to the final, we'll throw you back on the show for that too if you're available. So
We'll
Yeah,
get some
sounds
Skype
good.
conference calls in here. Get a little
yeah, we could
action
probably do
going pre-game.
multiple people. Yeah, there's no limits here. Like I said, we're just a couple chill guys. We're just figuring out this podcast life, Damien. But this is at week 13. We've got actually a few more episodes under our belt, but we're rolling right along. And again, thank you for joining us.
Cool.
All right, brother.
All right,
I'll
thanks,
talk to you
Damien.
later, man. I'll give you a call later on.
I'll talk to y'all.
Thanks, bro.
Yep.
All right, man.
So how'd that
Successfully
go,
had the
man?
guests. I mean, we were a little stale in the middle between transitioning, getting that worked out. We know the soundboard is the issue with the audio, but that's good. We know it now. You know, we did pretty good with Ben. We got Damien in there eventually. A
So,
little
and I
dry time
figured
in
out
between.
what I can do with that too, whether I can keep music or not, is I can just adjust the volume for this.
Yeah, so the output of that.
Too,
into the-
but that's
the-
how we know that, and then we can have their voices up, and we don't always need the voice behind, especially when there's a couple voices too. We're not as dry, but yeah, everything visually on the screen looked good. We're rolling right along. We're trying to grow. Just like sports, if you're in any kind of sports participation, practicing, you should just be trying to get better every day, right?
Yeah, of course.
I feel like that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, a
We're
little different
accomplishing.
Four-man the show. Didn't get into the rankings, but we already had 4 games. There's only, 12 left.
Oh, and then when this one came in, I remember I liked this one. At least we still got this one in.
Yeah, we got the audio. We got
yeah.
the chat going a little bit. Appreciate the support out there.
Chat, thanks for everyone that tuned in too. It was definitely a slightly different show. We didn't get too much to the chat, but we got 3 episodes in 7 days.
Yeah, thanks for bearing with us. We had some good viewership this week. I think we stuck over 10 viewers on both shows throughout the entire duration. So that's pretty
Rolling.
good for us.
Rolling. We'll share this around afterwards, and
Yeah, we're going to get more smooth in bringing the guests on, get through our regular formats, but I like where it's going.
we'll lock this in. And like I said, we're just trying to get better every week. Ella nailed her pick 6 this week again. Hopefully that works out well for her because the kid's doing good. Closing with Steve League, it's rolling right along. Playoff positioning. Hopefully this goes well for our viewers who are involved in that. And then the First and Goal League, again, playoff positioning right there. I know towards the bottom of those.
I got to win out to have a chance.
Towards the bottom of those rankings there. I think me and you might be cooked in that league, but that's okay. We'll support whoever's left.
I think
And
the
that's
spouses
been
have
fun.
chances, so.
Maybe if that's the redraft league for next year, that sounds like it's going to be fun. And then snuck in a couple little gambling recommendations there, and like I said, I like 7 guys for a touchdown. You want me to talk about that, or you want to wrap this up real quick?
Let's wrap her up.
I got some things in the works for today.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't recommend parlays for people, but they are fun.
Parlays
If you
are
want to have
scary.
some fun and you got some extra cash, but
I think I'm going to go back to basics on the gambling front.
yeah, the basics. There is a smart way to do it. It's just boring, but
Yeah.
But again, thanks for tuning in this week for week 13. Thanks for bearing with us as we grow our podcast. Hope to see you guys here in the future.
Appreciate you. We'll catch you next week.